Batman, hear me out, okay? Don't do that thing you do where you retreat into the darkness to hide and lick your wounds. You don't have to do that anymore. Batman, Bruce. Today on the Comic Book Report, Batman Abyss. Stick around and check it out. Greetings from Gotham, everyone. My name is Dominic, and you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And today we're checking out Joshua Williamson's Batman Abyss. This hardcover volume follows up James Tynion IV's concluding arc on his Batman run, The Fear State. And frankly, I was really curious where the Batman title would go from there. So what was Batman Abyss? Was it any good? Well, let's get to today's review. First, some quick facts about today's collection. The issues in this volume were written primarily by Joshua Williamson and penciled primarily by Jorge Molina. The issues in this volume were published by DC Comics beginning in 2021. This volume collects Batman issues 118 through 121 and issue 124. And finally, this standard size hardcover comes in 176 pages. At this time, I'd like to issue a general spoiler warning. I will be flipping through the contents of today's collection and commenting on plot points throughout. You've been advised. Okay, and here's our first look at that Batman Abyss standard size hardcover collection from DC Comics. Formatting-wise, it's almost identical to all the James Tynion IV standard-size hardcovers we saw during his Batman run. In fact, on the backside of this hardcover dust jacket, it even notes that this Batman Abyss is considered Volume 6 of this era Batman. Volume 1, of course, beginning with their dark designs. Frankly, I love the look of the dust jacket on this Batman collection. I love the yellow accents. It really punches out great. And like I said, formatting-wise, it looks incredible on the shelf next to Tynion's Batman run. And now that we've gotten a good look at the dust jacket, I'm going to go ahead and get a better look at the full dust jacket wraparound as well as the under the dust jacket art that is on this collection. Like I said, I just love the art direction for this actual collection itself. It really punches out. The colors are absolutely striking, the black and yellow. Just an exceedingly beautifully designed book. For those that have been watching the channel for a while, I did review their dark designs, the Joker War Saga, Batman Ghost Stories, Batman the Cowardly Lot. I haven't done Fear State yet. I actually read that digital, so I'm hoping to get a hardcover collection of that sometime in the future. But I have the rest of these reviewed on the channel, all of Tynion's era in the recent Batman history, before jumping over to this one by Joshua Williamson if you want to take a look at those. And there's just a quick look at the binding in this collection. A little bit of gutter loss, nothing too bad. I should note as well the paper stock is that matte paper that we've seen on the Tynion collections as well. Okay, and with all of that taken care of, we can jump into the collection proper. And like I mentioned, this takes place directly after the Batman Fear State event, the Batman Fear State story arc, and is kind of the new setup for Batman. That was the last big adventure that happened in Gotham, to my knowledge. And this book starts accordingly. After the Fear State event, Gotham is celebrating big time. We're talking parties and fireworks. The citizens of Gotham are just so happy to be done with that horrible crime spree and everything that happened therein. And I think that was a really fun way to start off a new run. This run, of course, being Joshua Williamson's run on Batman. It was celebratory, and it really set the tone for all the adventures that would come forward in this collection. As far as this collection itself, I mentioned earlier that this includes 118 through 121 and issue 124. You might be wondering, where are Batman issues 122 and 123? Well, I'm happy you asked. It looks like that is collected in the hardcover collection Batman Shadow War. That's a small event with some tie-ins that was also done by Joshua Williamson, but wasn't really tied into this Abyss story arc in the same way those other issues were. So it looks like that's a separate event book collection. I have not read that yet. I hope to have an opportunity. But my understanding is this book and that book kind of complete Joshua Williamson's run on Batman, because I think after that, Chip Zdarsky's up, and I can't wait to check out what he can bring to the book after loving what I've seen him do with Daredevil and even Howard the Duck. Another content note about this collection as well, having not collected the single issues, I'm not totally clear on where this story initially appeared, if they were within the pages of the issues collected, or it came from somewhere else that I can't find attribution for. But with these issues, we also have this adventure where Batman teams up with, air quotes, everyone's favorite Gotham Academy student, Maps Mizuguchi. They have a little mystery story that's kind of thrown in there. It sounds like a girl character from the Gotham Academy series kind of teams up with Batman. It's a little fun adventure. It's not a huge, long story, but it's included at the end of this collection before the variant cover art gallery, and I really liked it. We'll touch on that as we go a little bit further. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay, as far as the storyline for Batman Abyss goes, like I mentioned, takes place after Fear State and starts where the whole city is celebrating. Batman is encouraged by Oracle to celebrate himself, having done a job well done ending the Fear State event. However, Batman is vigilant, he's stopping street crime, and he's alerted that there is some kind of villainous activity that's happening at some rich gala. The gala itself is a bit odd where the theme is everyone's dressing up as Batman's rogues gallery, so all of the villains are there, at least cosplayed versions of them. But we find out that some of the actual villains have infiltrated that party. Batman, of course, wasn't invited, but Batman shows up in the guise of Killer Croc, saving the day. Again, the first issue of Williamson's Batman really started off with a bang. Between the celebratory nature of everything, the gorgeous art, this interesting gala, just stunning throughout. But ultimately, after he's thwarted those bad guys, he is completely flabbergasted to find breaking news that he sees via the billboards displayed on the Zeppelins around Gotham that Batman Incorporated has been arrested, potentially for murder. Batman tells Oracle he's going dark for about 48 hours to investigate, and the next thing we know, Bruce Wayne shows up in Badnesia, where I guess this crime has occurred. It looks like some kind of Southeast Asian kind of country, island country, and Bruce Wayne's there to kind of investigate and see what has happened to Batman Incorporated. Are these charges true? Did they murder? What's the context and what is happening? So, of course, Batman shows up at these crime scenes trying to find out what's happening. There's a local police officer there who is frightened at Batman's presence. They talk about this character called Abyss, who was allegedly murdered by Batman Incorporated. This is shocking to Batman, having lost a bit of touch with Batman Incorporated recently, but he cannot believe that they would be murderers. But we find out that after Bruce Wayne lost all his money in the Joker War event, that someone else had to help bankroll Batman Incorporated, and we find out, emerging from the shadows at the end of the first issue in this collection, that that is none other than Lex Luthor himself. Bum, bum, bum. Yes, so tension mounts, the rest of the series kicks off, you're trying to figure out what Luthor is doing with Batman Incorporated. It definitely makes the mystery a bit more interesting. Batman also tries to find the body of Abyss to see what is going on, to see if he can find evidence, only to find that the body is not the correct body. Abyss is still alive. From there, Batman actually gets blinded. He tries to infiltrate and find Batman Incorporated in jail, and it is just a pretty wild ride for those handful of issues it collects. Ultimately, Batman Incorporated is vindicated, Luthor is put in his place, and Abyss is still a bit at large. A very fascinating character that uses darkness powers. Luckily, Batman does get his sight back, but very interesting little story here. I think I really enjoyed what I saw Williamson do here. I was a bit discouraged that the main run of this story was only 4 issues, with that 5th issue, 124, almost serving like an epilogue, where he goes back to Badnesia and the cop that was assisting him is out actually now posing as Abyss herself to try to get revenge for those that maybe abducted her parents. At any rate, a really good story that I wish was closer to 6 to 8 issues. I think we could have flushed out some of the Batman Incorporated characters a bit more in this arc. I think I would have loved to see more from Abyss, more detective work from Batman, and generally just more in this world. I like the exotic locales. I love the cast of characters this brought in. Frankly, I hadn't heard from Batman Incorporated since the Grant Morrison era of Batman, so that was a really refreshing touch that I really didn't expect in this arc. I think Lex Luthor as as well was a very fun villain piece to see in a Batman book. I don't always see that, especially outside of World's Finest situations where Superman is also included. But I like him as a Batman adversary. I think it was a really neat little wrinkle. The cop character was also a very fun addition. Overall, a solid story that I wish they just did a little more with. I wish we had a little more room to breathe within this story arc. After that, we have that storyline with Maps, the Gotham Academy student, where they tried to find some kind of mythological, like, kind of amphibious creature that's roaming around and hurting or killing people. This girl wants to be a Robin someday, and she kind of gets herself involved in a very dangerous little adventure. Batman ends up saving her, hopefully not scarring her. It's cheeky, it's fun, and I think that it's a little taste of what you could probably expect reading Gotham Academy. I'm for sure intrigued. I definitely prefer the more Batman level heroics and mythos, but I think including this kind of kid story was really still effective, and it added an extra layer to this collection that I think filled out an otherwise shorter book pretty effectively. Overall, two great stories included in this, both Abyss and that story with Maps. I think that the art quality was gorgeous, especially in the primary story arc. The stuff with Maps was a little bit more cartoony, but still lovely. And like I said, it really added a fullness to this collection. Overall, I think I would have liked to see more from Joshua Williamson on Batman. You almost feel like he's just getting started here. I still have to read Shadow War, but after that, we're already handing it over to Chip Zdarsky. And again, that's not a complaint for me, as I love Zdarsky, but I want to see more from what Williamson could bring to Batman, and I'm kind of surprised his tenure here was so short. Other than that, a very good collection here. I enjoyed my time. It was pretty fast-paced. Like I said, the collection for me read very swiftly, and I would have enjoyed longer in this world. Frankly, after Tynion's run, I was ready for a new status quo, a changing of the guard, and I think that even if this is a very minimal run, it was a good palate cleanser, setting me up for more Batman adventures. At the back of the book, of course, we have the variant cover art gallery that we've just seen here, and with that, we're already at the end of today's collection, so I think that all that's left to do is to give this book a grade. For this above-average Batman collection that included some very dynamic but gorgeous art, the Comic Book Report is happy to give Batman Abyss a B-. I think in the entire Batman canon, this will not rise to the top of the classics list, but I do think that Joshua Williamson really had something to offer here. It's a fun story with a very colorful cast of characters. I think given time, we would have seen a lot more potential from Williamson for a Batman run. I'm a little bummed it was cut short. Speaking of cut short, that's really the largest complaint I have about this collection, is that it was over too soon. There wasn't a ton of issues in that main story arc collected here, and I would have liked to see a bigger collection overall. That being said, it was a great story, and I thoroughly enjoyed my read of Batman Abyss. If you've read it, let me know in the comments. And until next time, this has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to like and check out some of my other videos. Have a good one.